We're doing something new on the show. It's something we're calling M Squared, which stands for Matalin and Martin, our powerhouse team of Mary Matalin and Roland Martin. They're going to be here every night with their unique takes on some of the most talkable stories of the day. They are in New Orleans tonight. Guys, what have you got?
Well, Campbell, we're at Giacomo's again, home of the best alligator pie in the world. And while we're enjoying ourselves down here, the president's in another foreign policy hoo-ha. Today, Robert Gibbs threatened to not visit, or the White House would not be visiting with President Hamid Karzai when he comes to the United States next week. So last week we dissed Bibi Netanyahu, Israel, big ally. Next week, we're going to diss our Afghan ally.
Right, and we should. I mean, this is a guy who has made some idiotic comments. First off, he blasted the West by saying they're meddling in my affairs. Then, of course, he then apologizes to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Then he comes back and even says, I might join the Taliban as a result. I'm sorry. Americans are dying in that country to save his behind. We're protecting him. And then he disses the West. Fine. Stay the hell home.
This is for domestic politics. He is in a very difficult situation. The reality on the ground is the PACs have finally busted up the Taliban in Waziristan. We're about to go into Kandahar, biggest operation yet. He's practicing domestic politics. We are meddling in his affairs, including the last election. He's saying that for domestic purposes, and we're fighting with him on something we're not going to enforce. We're not going to pull out of the country. We're not going to enforce any threats to him so we don't visit with him.
We're footing the whole bill. We're paying for everything. Without us, he's not even president. He's walking around in those nice, cute outfits.
That's called meddling. That's called meddling.
It's not called meddling. It's called positioning you for leadership. And it is disrespectful for Karzai to diss the United States when we are shedding American blood and spending billions of dollars saving his hide.
The reason he feels like he can do that is because we don't act on anything we say we're going to do, including the big, very big, critical insecurities in the world, like threatening Ahmadinejad for the past 14 months. We've acted on none of that. So
okay, let's act on him. Fine. Stay home. Don't come. Stay home.
All right.
All right.
Hamid.
Now, speaking of staying home, Secretary of Education Arne Duncan, he is critical of NCAA schools that are not graduating at least 40% of their players. Of course, last night, Duke beat Butler for the NCAA championship. Tonight, Connecticut, the women, they try to stay undefeated, win the back-to-back championship against Stanford. Looking forward to that game.
Sports show.
No, I love sports as well. But here's what I agree with. I agree with Secretary Duncan. I've been saying it for years. If you don't graduate players, you should not be in the NCAA tournament. Some people say, oh, no, that's just too much. It's too harsh. But if guys are going to school and they can't finish in 6 years, the best way to say, don't go to the tournament, you need to stay at home.
Yes, but irrelevant, because as you know, we talked about this, because it doesn't, if you're not catching these kids by that grade, then that's not where the problem is. The problem is, and where we're catching it here and where it is working, is at these younger grades.
I agree.
Well, then we have an education problem, which is bigger than graduating basketball players or football players. But if they have a talent, they have a way to, then we should take them at that age. It's too late then to do what we needed to do and take them one kid at a time.
But the schools are making millions of dollars off these players, and they're simply nothing but a farm system. And I think if they talk about student athletes, and these coaches are making millions of dollars, fine. I think you say you want to focus on the student part of being a student athlete, you don't graduate these players, you don't go to the tournament. I guarantee you the coaches and the university presidents would get the message, and you would see higher graduation rates. And look, we were talking about Baylor, California, Clemson, Georgia Tech, Kentucky, Louisville, Maryland, Missouri, New Mexico State, Tennessee, Washington, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, all under 40%.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that's not the solution. The solution is not to try to catch them, it's to try to catch them earlier and take these kids now at this age and try to do them one at a time. But speaking of failures in education, I thought the doodling girl was a Stephen Colbert story. My girls doodle on the dogs, they doodle on each other, they doodle on their friends. It wasn't. Listen to this. This is from the doodle girl and his mom.
They consider this graffiti. I consider this doodling on a desk. Because we all, at one point when we all went to school, we all did this. And now it's against the law.
When she told me I was going to get arrested, I just burst out crying. Like, I couldn't even take, like, her saying, I'm going to get arrested.
These are folks stuck on stupid. How do you arrest a child for doodling?
A child who was never in trouble, tied her and handcuffed her to a pole, would not let her mother go to the police station. She stayed home for 3 days throwing up. You know what this is? Zero tolerance. This is...
No, this is dumb.
This is the consequence of one-size-fits-all, zero tolerance, big government failure. It is. I am making a very philosophical point here. If teachers are not free to make decisions that are not stupid like that, you call in the cops when somebody's doodling? Why? Why do they do that? Not because they're stupid, because their hands are tied by this litigious one-size-fits-all education system.
Well, look, first of all, we obviously understand when you have kids bringing guns or other weapons to school, but this is ridiculous. First of all, if I was one of those cops, I know I probably would have showed up and said, "You've got to be kidding me. I'm going to handcuff a child for doodling."
It was a raceable marker. I've done spanking for a permanent magic marker.
I just don't, no, this is crazy. And to say, well, it was a mistake, come on. So, this is where I think some public officials should be flogged publicly for this kind of law.
Okay, that's a good sporting event, sportsman. I knew you want your own sports show. Public flogging of teachers.
There you go, or administrators. Campbell, we're absolutely out of time, and look, we'll try to save some of this alligator pie for you, all right?
Thank you, Giacomo's.